Success begins long before results appear. It begins in the private world of thought where ideas take shape and possibilities first appear. Every accomplishment in history started as a simple thought that grew into a powerful desire. This idea forms the heart of Think and Grow Rich. Wealth and achievement are not accidents. They are built intentionally by people who understand how to shape their thoughts and actions with precision. The first turning point for anyone who wants to transform their life is understanding the importance of desire. People often say they want success, but many of these desires are weak. They disappear when challenges arrive. Real desire does not fade. Real desire pushes a person forward even when progress is slow. Imagine two individuals who want to start a business. One is casually interested. The other feels a personal mission to create something meaningful. The first person works when motivation is high. The second person works even when tired, confused, or uncertain. The difference in results becomes obvious after 1 year. The person with casual desire quits. The person with burning desire grows. Desire becomes powerful when it is tied to a specific outcome. People cannot simply wish to be wealthy. They must define what wealth means to them. It might be financial security, independence, the ability to support family, or freedom to choose how time is spent. Once desire is defined, a person can shape their daily choices around it. A vague dream has no force. A defined desire becomes a compass. Desire must then be combined with belief. Without belief, action weakens. Belief influences energy, creativity, and persistence. For example, imagine a new entrepreneur with a strong business idea, but weak belief. Every time a challenge appears, they assume their idea is flawed. They shrink their expectations. They hesitate. Meanwhile, another entrepreneur with the same idea but stronger belief looks at challenges differently. They see difficulty as part of the journey. They adapt and continue. Belief does not guarantee instant success, but it guarantees sustained effort, and sustained effort produces results. Belief is strengthened through the process of autosuggestion. Autosuggestion means deliberately speaking to the mind with purpose. The mind is constantly shaped by messages from the outside world. Most people absorb negativity without realizing it. They listen to doubt from others. They replay past failures. They allow fear to guide their thoughts. Autosuggestion reverses this pattern. It is the practice of telling your mind what you intend to achieve and repeating that message until the subconscious accepts it as truth. Consider a practical example. A student who wants to become an entrepreneur begins telling themselves daily that they are capable of building a successful business. They repeat their goals out loud. They visualize the outcome. After weeks of repetition, their subconscious begins accepting these statements. They gain confidence. They start taking steps they would normally avoid. They reach out to mentors. They study business models. They create small experiments. Autosuggestion creates a psychological foundation that supports action. Without this mental foundation, most people abandon their goals long before results appear. Knowledge plays a vital role in this philosophy. Yet the book makes a clear distinction. General knowledge does not create success. People often believe that education alone guarantees achievement, but this is not true. Specialized knowledge creates opportunity. Specialized knowledge is information that serves a specific purpose. A person who wants to build wealth must study subjects that directly support their goals. For example, someone who wants to invest must study financial markets, valuation, risk, and business models. Someone who wants to start a restaurant must study customer behavior, food cost management, and branding. The intelligent approach is identifying exactly what knowledge is needed and acquiring it with intention. Imagine a person who wants to begin a small online business. If they study 10 different topics randomly, progress will be slow, but if they identify 3 essential skills, such as product sourcing, marketing, and customer service, and focus deeply on these skills, progress accelerates. Specialized knowledge shortens the path to results. Imagination is the next essential element. Everything that exists today was once imagined. The phone in your hand, the building you live in, the company you work for, the career you admire, all started as thoughts. The imagination allows individuals to create mental pictures of what does not yet exist. These mental pictures give direction to action. There are two types of imagination. Creative imagination produces original ideas. Synthetic imagination combines existing ideas in new ways. Most successful businesses use synthetic imagination. For example, ride-sharing companies combine taxis, mobile phones, and mapping technology. They did not invent new components. They rearranged existing components into a new solution. Someone who learns to use imagination can create opportunities even without inventing something completely new. They simply observe what exists and imagine a better arrangement. Once goals, beliefs, and imagination align, the next step is decision making. People who succeed develop the habit of making decisions quickly and confidently. Indecision is one of the greatest obstacles to progress. A person who cannot decide remains stuck in the same place while opportunities pass by. This happens in daily life more than people realize. Someone wants to start a YouTube channel but spends months thinking about equipment. Another wants to invest but spends years waiting for perfect conditions. Intelligent people often fall into this trap because they overanalyze. On the other hand, successful individuals decide and adjust later. They understand that progress creates clarity. For example, an entrepreneur who starts their business learns more in 3 weeks of action than in 3 months of planning. A content creator who posts 10 videos learns more than someone planning for the perfect idea. The habit of early decision-making builds momentum. Without momentum, dreams slowly fade. Once decisions are made, persistence becomes essential. Persistence is the power behind all success. Many people quit when faced with obstacles, but those who persist adapt and eventually succeed. Consider an example. 2 people launch the same type of business. Both struggle during the first month. One decides the market is too competitive and quits. The other adjusts pricing, improves marketing, and continues. After 6 months, the second business begins to grow. The difference was not ability, it was persistence. The book also emphasizes the importance of relationships. Success increases when people collaborate with others. No one achieves anything significant alone. Even the most successful individuals in business, technology, and entrepreneurship have teams behind them. The concept of a mastermind is simply a group of people who support each other, share ideas, and provide perspective. When people come together with shared goals, their combined intelligence becomes far more powerful than individual intelligence. Imagine a young entrepreneur building a startup alone versus another entrepreneur working with 2 partners who have different strengths. The second startup progresses faster because each person contributes something unique. A supportive community multiplies progress and reduces mistakes. The subconscious mind is a quiet but powerful influence. It works continuously, storing emotions, memories, and beliefs. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It responds to repeated thoughts. This is why fear grows when people repeatedly think about problems. It is also why confidence grows when people repeatedly affirm their goals. When the subconscious mind accepts a goal as reality, it begins directing behavior toward that goal. This is how people become more decisive, more focused, and more resilient. People must also be aware of emotional barriers such as fear and doubt. Fear is the primary enemy of success. People fail to act not because they lack skill, but because they allow fear to stop them. Fear of criticism is especially powerful. Many dreams are abandoned because individuals worry about the opinions of others. For example, someone who wants to start a YouTube channel often worries about what friends will think. Someone who wants to change careers worries about judgment. Successful individuals are not free from fear. They simply choose action despite fear. Temporary defeat is another barrier. People often misinterpret temporary setbacks as permanent failure. Every successful person has experienced defeat many times. The difference is that they view defeat as information. They examine what happened, adjust their approach, and try again. This mindset protects them from giving up too early. Environment also influences success. People are shaped by the attitudes of those around them. Negative people drain motivation. Doubtful people weaken belief. Fearful people amplify worry. This is why successful individuals intentionally choose their environment. They surround themselves with people who encourage growth, share ambition, and support progress. One of the most practical ideas in this philosophy is attaching strong emotion to goals. Emotion brings desire to life. Without emotion, goals remain ordinary. For example, someone who wants to become financially independent must connect that goal to something meaningful. It might be freedom to live anywhere. It might be the ability to support parents. It might be the desire to escape a limiting job. When goals become emotional, they become powerful. Thought control is equally important. The mind left unmanaged naturally drifts toward worry, fear, or negativity. People must intentionally redirect their thoughts toward confidence, opportunity, solutions, and purpose. When thoughts are directed consistently, behavior aligns automatically. Purpose transforms thinking into direction. People without purpose drift. They react to circumstances rather than shaping them. But once a person identifies a definite purpose, life becomes more structured. Decisions become clearer. Habits become aligned. Purpose gives energy. Without purpose, even talented individuals lack consistency. Continuous improvement is also vital. Successful individuals refine their skills, expand their knowledge, and rise above their limitations. They learn from mistakes. They remain curious. They embrace growth. Achievement does not end at one milestone. It becomes an ongoing process. Above all, success depends on action. Without action, desire remains fantasy. Without action, imagination remains daydreaming. Without action, belief remains internal. Action transforms thought into achievement. People often wait for perfect conditions before acting, but perfect conditions never arrive. Progress requires movement, even when the path is unclear. Small steps taken consistently lead to remarkable outcomes. Success is not built in one moment. It is built over time by people who think purposefully, act decisively, persist firmly, and grow continuously. Wealth begins in the mind. Results follow those who discipline their thoughts and remain committed to their goals. This integrated philosophy teaches that anyone, regardless of background, education, or circumstance, can rise by mastering their mind, controlling their emotions, building supportive relationships, and taking consistent action. When thought becomes focused, belief becomes strong, action becomes consistent, and persistence becomes unshakable. Success becomes inevitable.